Hello everyone and welcome back to Wait, what's this game? What the hell? Oh, okay. Hello, this is Slow and I'm gonna call this an update video. And don't mind the setting for what I've put in the background here. This is just a game of 13 against bots because no one plays this game anymore. I was one day decided to revisit a bunch of old video games that I had in the past and came across 13 and decided to reinstall and start playing it again, and instantly remembered why I loved the game in the first place. This was released back in the early 2000s and I believe is the only first person shooter other than Borderlands to share a comic book style. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. It's all the gameplay. I died twice and get a couple of saves here and there. I was talking about the LP for, well, the two LPs I have running at the moment, TPP and Driver 2. Driver 2, as I think I've mentioned previously in my Talk to G interview, is completed pretty much, and essentially what I have to do is remember to post the parts once every Monday. That's for TPP. Essentially what I need to do is try and continue making the parts in the first place. I have not had a recording session for that game in almost a couple of weeks now, and I still have I still have like 4 parts uncommentated and unprepared that I need to process before I can actually start playing the game again, as my hard drive only seems to have enough space for like maybe 2 or 3 hours of footage at any one time from fraps, unless I could figure out a way to get optimal compression for the part and apply them to the video files as I record them, as I spray blindly at these poor guys. But thinking up the commentary for this kind of stuff is pretty freaking tricky, and I believe that might have been why hang on, okay, I stopped LPing videos a long time ago but decided to hop back into this out of sheer boredom. But back then, okay, what was my last LP? Yeah, okay, the last thing I ever tried to do was a simultaneous LP of SMW 2+3 alongside Ultra J-Man. Unfortunately, the problem with that was I was a noob and I thought it was a good idea, and as it turns out, trying to run something in parallel with someone, especially when they have an updated schedule that's as irregular as, well, irregular really. I don't want to come up with any kind of comparisons in case they fuck up. But yeah, he stopped making videos for the longest while. I lost motivation to continue playing it, as well as having troubles with the recording software that I was using, and I just surrendered. And I believe none of the parts are remaining on my channel. They've been privatised. It wasn't even that good an attempt in the first place, but yeah. But for the reason why I'm still doing these 2 LPs, well, one of them's already done, so that's going to get posted whether I like it or not. But as for TPP, I need to keep up and figure out what to talk about for potentially the next 70 parts or something, assuming I don't get I have no idea how much I'm going to have to grind in this game, considering that, well, I'll just spoil it for you here and just give you an estimate of the levels that we'll eventually be reaching on the what's it called, the B save or the Z save, which I applied an EXP hack onto it so that I could generate EXP quickly, so I could make progress quickly, so I could, well, sight read the game faster. I got to Victory Road and the levels were, well, the wilds were 75. Also the Rayquaza replacement is level 90. That gives you some kind of idea of the scale we're talking about here. So, this could be a very long-winded LP. And it's been about, well, probably about 15 parts I've recorded by now, and I'm already starting to struggle for topics, and my main saving, well, kind of like my, what would I call it? My saving grace would be essentially talking about certain characters as they come up. The problem with that is that I could probably go on through each character in about only like 2 or maybe 3 minutes if I'm lucky, and once that's done, then, well, I have to make witty comments and essentially get right into my discomfort zone. There's also a lot of like work going on anyways, but if you know me and you know my internet, it's extremely terrible. I mean, absolutely god awful, and my saving grace right now is, I mean, like, the only reason that I am not raging so much about my terrible internet and the fact that I can't use it to play Black Ops and the like, well, I can't play Black Ops anymore because I sold it. I also sold Halo Reach and got Black from it. And Black is trying its very best to take over everything, even though it's noob friendly like nothing you've ever seen before, and I end up defeating all the gyms in 12 hours and the main credits roll was reached 4 hours later. I'm still stuck hooked onto it, and that's before I even have the ability to transfer all my stuff off of Soul Silver. And oh yeah, as I was mentioning about me losing a bunch of my online gaming capability, it's actually gotten me into actually using my time that I would use, well, quote unquote relaxing on Black Ops to instead work on playing the LPs and essentially record footage and have a blast and do all the rest of it. Now, I've been streaming a little bit as well, although not this week. Well, actually not for the past couple of weeks anyways, primarily due to, well, the terrible internet getting 3 steps worse and becoming completely unusable outside of uploading the various parts for the LP. And those previous times I streamed this game's campaign. I've streamed Hero Core, which is a very interesting retro type thing. It's well, it's not really that hard to describe in that it's like free-roaming, it's like a Castlevania Metroid type thingy, something or other, but the fact is it's a lot of fun. But what I was also thinking of was streaming other things, and one of the ideas I've come up with recently is I want to see if I can actually stream TPP's A-save and record that and use that as the basis for a series of parts later on in the LP. Like have a live series. Like I know that when I eventually get to the legendaries that I'm most likely going to live record those because, well, it'd be a lot more interesting, I'll just say that. I might also try and stream, as I call it, fucking Boshi. And if you aren't aware of its existence, is made massively infamous by JTV Michael 1985, and it's quite simply what I would call the best I Wanna Beaver game in the world. Like, I'm not even kidding, this game is incredible. And the difficulty isn't generally from the traps in it either. I mean, there are some traps, but literally from what I remember, the very last section in the regular campaign has like no BS in it whatsoever. And the game makes up for this, and it's moderately fun and kind of minimalistic BS in the main levels, with some of the hardest bosses I think I've ever seen in a video game. I mean, if you haven't seen the very final boss of Washi in regular difficulty, oh wait for it,
Double kill!
do like. But if you haven't seen the last boss of it, it's unbelievably ridiculous. I don't even know if anyone's beaten it. So there we go. I can't see my final score because it's all blurry, but I'll see you in, well, whatever next video I'm going to post, really. This has been Slow signing off, and I gotta get this room sorted out for an inspection in 3 hours. Bloody great, innit? Farewell.